Hey, good morning, you guys. This is Dennis. While this is fresh on my mind, I wanted to do a little follow up on the tutorial I posted 3 weeks ago on how to play Just Like That by Bonnie Raitt. I felt I didn't articulate very well about that time signature change, so I'm going to point that out to you and help you understand it a little better. Interestingly enough, I mentioned that it only occurs during the verses. It actually occurs throughout the song. It's the last four bars of the verses, it's the last four bars of the pre chorus, and it's the last four bars of the chorus, the hook, the na na na. Excuse me, ma'am, maybe you can help. The directions weren't so clear. I'm looking for Olivia's aunt. They said I might find her here. All right, let's slow things down so we can get this straight, how the time signature of the song, which is basically 4/4 time, only changes to 2/4 time for that D chord and then immediately goes back to 4/4 time for the G over B. Let me show you. Did you see that? 4/4 time here to 2/4, back to 4/4 time. As you may have noticed on the first tutorial, most of this song is played on the bottom five strings. That is, excluding the first string, the thinnest string, except at those certain times when the song shifts down to 2/4 time for that one measure of 2/4, and I've illustrated that to you. The reason why it's kind of important to know that, because when you're playing the song and you come across it and you know that's coming, it kind of gives you a heads up as to the next chordal progression you're going to be playing, because you know that time signature is changing. So I think that'll help you to remember that. One place where we utilize that first string is in the verse, that little lead lick over the D5 chord. Play the D5 chord. And what you're overlaying over that is this little lead lick on the second string, the B string. Remember, you don't have to include that first string until you're ready to attack that process. You can just keep it on the five strings, play the D5 pattern and do this 5 to 7 slide, play the pattern again and do the 5 to 3 slide. So then when you're ready to add that first string, and it's only on the first measure of this D5 chord where you're changing anything over and above this, where we kept it on the 5 bottom strings. This is the only measure that you're going to have to learn how to incorporate that first string. The second measure is easy. One other thing I want to mention to you is that in the initial tutorial that I put together, it's going to be very important for you to learn how to play those chord patterns for the D5, the A sus4, and the G over B. Learn how to play them completely, fluidly. Repetition is going to get that to a point where your muscle memory is going to take over. But then once you learn that, you're going to want to forget it in a kind of way. There's parts of the song where you're not going to want to play the whole pattern. You may just want to play the bass notes of the pattern, or just a partial pattern, just to break it up, depending upon how you want to accent the song. Let me show you. It's not like me to trust so quick, caught me by surprise. But something about him gave me ease, right there in his eyes. something like that. Let me close with this. The most important part of this follow-up and the initial tutorial on how to play Just Breathe is, whoa, I meant how to play just like that, is to look at those chord patterns for each chord, the D5, the A sus4, and the G over B, and take advantage of these chord diagrams. At the top, the actual musical notations indicating how long each note is played for. A quarter note on downbeat 1, 4/8 notes in the middle, and a quarter note on the end on downbeat 4. Except for when during the song you feel like you can change the mood a little bit by just playing a partial pattern, either just the bass notes or just a part of the pattern as I just showed you. And then under the musical notation, you'll note that I've listed there for you the order the strings are played and that the notes are played. So pay attention to that, and it'll enable you to learn these patterns quicker. Now I want to point out that this follow-up was played on my Martin D18 without a capo, so I want you to keep that in mind. You might have noticed that I was having trouble singing it because it was too low, but it was really interesting to whip out this Martin, which these subscribers of mine have noticed I hardly ever play. I haven't played this thing in a year, and you know, when I picked it up, it was in tune. It's a 1966 Martin D18, in case you were wondering. Anyway, good night, everybody. I hope this little follow-up tutorial on how to play Bonnie rates just like that proves to be helpful for you. See you next time.